Hey, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with a new and exciting episode. I have a returning guest coming up here. But before I bring her on, hit my music. Let's get started. Let's get it. All right, once again, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back. It is Thursday, February 12th, so almost that time for Valentine's Day. So if you celebrate, hopefully you have a great Valentine's Day weekend. It's on a Saturday this time, so so you have the whole entire weekend for Valentine's Day. So happy Thursday right now. But before we get started, you can follow the show on all the podcast platforms, whether it is Apple, Spotify, YouTube, BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com, BS3 Network, Roku channel, and you can follow the network in itself. Got a lot of incredible shows and hosts with incredible team there. BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com is the website. So wherever you consume podcasts, you can find them there, and you can follow me on all the social media platforms. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, where I'm the most active. Also have a TikTok and Blue Sky. So the Real Deal with Courtney Harden. So I am excited to talk my passions here, sneaker culture, and it's only right that I bring in someone who is entrenched in it and who does so much content and help others just kind of build, their confidence in wearing sneakers. And I've had her on the show maybe a year ago, could have been two, can't remember now. I think it was 2020, it might have been 2020, early 2025 that I had her on. She goes by the Sneaker Auntie. She's a digital creator, sneakers, fashion as well. So let me bring her on, the Sneaker Auntie Sara. Welcome back to the show. Really appreciate
Hi,
it.
Courtney. Yes, it's great to be back. I was on the show last March for
Yes,
Women's History Month.
History Month. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. I remember. Yeah, I did. When I was
hmm
saying, I was like, yes, it was. It was last March. It was during the my Women's History Month, which is coming up soon. So I appreciate you
hmm
doing that. And we kind of talked about where your love of sneakers and fashion and everything else.
hmm
So glad to get you back on. It's been almost a year, so glad to have you back on. So thank you
It's
for doing
good
this.
to be
Really appreciate
back,
it.
of
Yes.
course.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know we were trying to coordinate something before earlier, later last year, but it was, a lot
hmm
was going on 2025. And so, but I'm glad that we have some time in 2026. So how have you been over this
Yes.
past year and beginning of this year? How's everything going?
I've been doing great. The one of the reasons that it was so hard for me to connect with you is because I've just been busy working,
Yeah.
and the last couple months have been especially busy. When we were talking last year, I'm in marketing. It's my background is in marketing, but I'm doing a lot of business operations now, so it
Mm,
requires a lot of hands on, a lot
yeah.
of, like with marketing, I'm doing a lot of strategy, a lot of planning, have a little more time, but this is, a little more demanding, fun and exciting, though, something new.
Yeah.
So it has kept me really busy. In terms of content creation and sneakers, I've just been continuing on doing that. It's evolved a little bit more into
Yeah.
more conversations around sneaker culture.
Yes.
And I've also done some speaking engagements. I spoke at a entrepreneur conference last, I think it was March. Maybe it was March or April. April. So I was kind of talking about sneakers and personal branding for a group of entrepreneurs, and talking to them about how to incorporate sneakers into their professional wardrobe and that sort of thing. So doing stuff like that, it's been pretty fun.
Oh, that's very good. And like you said, with the marketing that you're doing, and then with the
Mhm.
content creation, and as you said, you've been getting into some speaking engagements. I know that was something we talked about. I think on the last episode, you were just
Mhm.
branding and talking and just wanted
Mhm.
to get into like panels and things like that. So I know that
For
sneakers
sure.
is one of your big passions. So it goes hand in hand,
Mhm.
with marketing, sneakers, and speaking engagements and panels and
Mhm.
all that. So yeah, you've been
Mhm.
I've been seeing a lot of your content, and we follow each
Mhm.
other, and you're
Yeah.
doing big things. So, and speaking of that,
Mhm.
what would you say with the marketing and sneakers, and and everything too? How do you feel that goes hand in hand to what it is leading into in 2026?
I think the sneaker culture, the sneaker business is just evolving, and
Yeah.
I like to see that. I think women are showing up more. I think
Yeah.
that the sneaker buyer is evolving, and so not necessarily changing because you still have your classic sneaker consumers, but I just think that the sneaker industry is making room for more type of sneaker buyers and sneaker enthusiasts. So, I always say that I'm not your typical sneakerhead. I did a
Hmm.
a video recently about the different types of sneakerheads,
Yes. Yes.
and I talked about, there's the OG sneakerhead, which is really from my generation, Gen X, and then older millennials. And they like certain things, the fit has to be right and things like that. But there's also different types of sneakerheads that have evolved. They're the ones
Mhm.
that enjoy and look for comfort. People who are lifestyle sneakerheads, if you will, because sneakers are just part of everyday life, and they look for different things than your classic sneakerhead does, or someone who likes to just look for the latest and greatest drop. That's never been me because I am so frugal.
Yep.
I like sneakers for style and just for comfort and lifestyle. So I just think it's evolving and making room for everyone else.
That's very true. And as you said, I'm from the generation of that old school, if you want to call sneaker head. I'm 46 years
Hmm.
old, so it's so growing up, it was and we talked about this during our first episode that we did in they said last March, where we were talking about where sneaker culture is evolving, like going into a store and getting something that you like, and you can just go in there and pick it up and buy it. Then it changed into resellers, and then it changed into, oh, it's hard to get. You got lotteries and things like that. And
Hmm.
I'm glad you did that. I remember you said did that video touching on the different stickers, and now it seems like it's going back to, I can go to the store because now sneakers are on the shelves and get something that I like. Now pricing is still kind of high in a lot of ways, but you can now go to a store, an outlet or something like that, and find things that are still on the shelf. You're like, wait, that was released maybe like 3 4 months ago, but it's not selling like they thought. And when they retro something like that, so it does do that where,
Yes.
yeah, where you have, you could get back into. So it is evolving back to what it is. So my question is, we were talking about this before we started recording, with sneaker culture and things like that. So the big question that was leading into this year, end of 2025 and into 2026, is sneaker culture dead? So that's been the conversations for the last, I would say, 4 or 5 months. So in your opinion, do you think sneaker culture is dead? It is evolving and different things are happening, but is sneaker culture dead in your opinion?
No, absolutely not. It's just like I said, it's just changing.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of resellers were having that conversation because it's changed for them.
Yeah.
I think the pandemic changed a lot,
Mhm.
for people. It began to shift at that time. Um, People are more selective now.
Yes.
I think people are much more selective. I think just the state of the economy makes people choose differently. So, I think you still have your people that are going to want those, like Jordan retros and things like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's driving the demand so much anymore. I think that people are much more selective about what they're actually going to get, and that's why sometimes these new releases do well and sometimes they don't. And you're right, you can walk into a store and get things sometimes that you wouldn't have been able to get before. And most of us sneakerheads, we love that. We love having that ability to be able to do
Mhm.
that. I mean, that's how it should be, having everything limited. I think it takes away, I think it kind of takes the fun out of it sometimes, because you want to
Mm.
enjoy your sneakers. If you can't get them, what's the fun in that? So I
Yeah.
like where it's going, and I think a lot of people like where it's going.
I agree 100%. I think it is getting to the point now where the resellers have softened the market in itself just because of, as you said, the economy, where
Mhm.
we are today in society when it comes to the buying habits and spending habits. Like you say, we don't want to spend over hundreds of dollars on sneakers. We just, we want to get those sneakers where we can find those deals. And you talked about
Mhm.
this before about finding the deals and different markets and different stores and on the websites and very in hunting down those things. You find a lot of sales and things like that. So I think opinions. We were talking about this week before we recorded. Of opinions are divided on, is sneaker culture dying or is it dead? But I think the market has there's opinions where they think the market has oversaturated, where there's too much investment driven and things like that. But on the other hand, as you said, it's thriving on where you can go to a store and get what you like for a good decent price. And now
Mhm.
resellers are not tripling the pricing where it's like I'm not going to buy that.
Mhm.
If I can get it for $100, why am I spending $300 for something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's a divide in opinions of it. It is dying for some, but for others like us, we think it's still it's still healthy.
Yeah. I mean, well, for example, just look at how Costco had a
Mm,
SB Dunk that they
yeah.
debuted, a few weeks ago. And now it was very, very limited, which I didn't even realize at first, because I thought I was going to be able to go up to Costco and get me a pair of Dunks. But they were
Yeah.
only in so many cities and mostly on the West Coast. I think there were some in New York and New Jersey, but they sold out. There were people standing in line for those Costco SB Dunks. A lot of people were like, "Oh, they're plain looking," but it was for a certain buyer.
Yeah.
It was for the Costco customer, and they obviously, it did well. It sold out. I think maybe we'll see some more of those different type of collabs in the future, but that's just an example of, yeah, there's still interest, there's still a
Yeah.
demand, and people are still very interested in sneakers and getting something. I mean, that was a very unique uh, collaboration,
It was.
with
Mhm.
a warehouse,
Yeah.
like I loved it. I thought it was awesome. But yeah, there's still interest. It's just, I guess my point is that just an example of how it's evolving and
Mhm.
what people, different customers, and what they're interested in. I thought it was very exciting and fun.
Yeah, and that's another point too, kind of shifting of the collaborations. Do you think we will start seeing more of that collaborations with something like Costco's or just things like that, maybe Sam's Club or something like that? Will you see more of? Do you feel like you will see some more of those collaborations as we do see collaborations always happening in sneakers culture?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely reason to continue try that and
Mhm.
do more of that. Obviously, there's interest in it, and I don't see why a brand wouldn't see that and say, "Let's try to do this a little more." I definitely think that's in the future to see more of those collabs. A lot of people were playing around with what if there was a Walmart collab and playing with their
Mhm.
logo and what it might look like, and
Right.
uh, just different retailers, which was fun to see. But I think that would be smart.
It'd be a smart business for sure. And then if they
Hmm.
get something like if you said, okay, if you get Walmart or Sam's Club or something in that BJ, somewhere those types
Yeah,
of warehouse things,
exactly.
you get something like that and they drop, and then on top of it, they get say an athlete influence on that too. Say someone like,
Hmm.
okay, you have someone like Shaq, who's a business, I mean, the man's a business mogul, and
Yeah.
he collaborates with Walmart. His name and his branding,
Hmm.
on top of that, you get something like that, and boom, and then next thing you know, people are just buying it and buying them and buying them. Shaq still is very popular, especially for that price. His price point. He's
For
always talking about
sure.
his pricing, and he's a good marketing genius on top of that too. So if you get someone like an
Hmm.
athlete that puts their name on something, collaborating with someone like a Walmart, I think that there's some interest in that. I agree, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Keeps it interesting. Like I said, it's expanding and making room and evolving. So I think that we're going to see more different things like that, collabs and just trying new things. The consumer is changing. So, they're going to meet us where we are.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of, other changes, well, not really changes, but the retro, retro Jordans, retro, that's always a big key too. I think there's been opinions on this too of people getting sick of retros, or how many more Jordan 11s can they make? How many more Jordan 4s can they make? And or the six, I think the sixes are getting ready to release or have released again. I know I saw that. Maybe I think they released this
Hmm.
weekend actually. But do you feel like is still a market for retro in the Jordan brand? Jordan brand will never go away. But is it?
Right.
Do you feel, in your opinion, do you feel like is the retro, is it slowing up? Is people getting tired of it, or is it still just people still want to enjoy and get those different silhouettes of retros?
I think as long as Gen X and
Yeah,
millennials are
good point.
around, people are
Yes.
going to be buying
Hmm.
retros
Hmm.
because let me tell you, when I've been having a lot of conversations on my Instagram account about Jordans in particular.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
just this week, I talked about, what makes you buy a Jordan shoe. And, my audience is mainly Gen X and older millennials, and they overwhelmingly tie retros to that a moment in time.
Yeah. Yes. Hmm.
It's nostalgic. It's nostalgia brings, it makes you feel good. It
Yes.
makes you think back on times that you cherish and love. So there's a lot of emotional equity with retros.
Yep.
So people are going to want that shoe that Jordan wore for this game or for this moment, or when he did this or when he did that. That's what makes the retro iconic. That's what makes it important to that buyer. And they're always going to be looking for that or a certain colorway, in the
Hmm.
retros. I think brands are going to always, the retro is going to anchor the brand, and new styles test the future. So they may
Yeah.
take those Jordan shoes and try different materials, or play with the colorway. But I think the retro, it anchors the Jordan brand.
Yes, I agree. I think, and I don't know if there's no retro fatigue. Maybe it's more. maybe people are tired of just the same ones getting, being retro. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there should be some different ones being retro. But then
For
they got to go.
sure.
But then they got to go with popularity too. We know
Mhm.
the ones are always going to be popular. If you
Mhm.
talk about
Mhm.
Jordans, the sixes are always popular. The 11s are always popular. Different
Mhm.
colorways and things like that. So I
Mhm.
know they have to go with what's the most popular, but somebody might think, hey, I want the, I don't know, random one, 17s to be retro, but will it sell? That's where I think where the business
Yeah,
side of
that's
it,
the bottom line.
that's the bottom line. The business side is they still got to make the money. They still got to say, is
Mhm.
anybody going to buy the shoe when the 11s retro, no matter what they are, the Breads, the Concords, the Space Jams, whatever colorway it is, people are going to buy it. And as you said, the nostalgia of it is always driving force when it comes to retro. But so I agree. I don't think there's any retro fatigue. Maybe people are thinking how many can you retro the sixes? Like how many different silhouettes can you do that?
Right.
Maybe people get tired of it, but then when the sixes drop, they sell out. So
Yeah.
it's like one of those things like we talked about earlier in the conversation about where is sneaker culture dying? Yeah, there might be various opinions on it, but people, as you said, people are still going to buy the sneaker.
Yes. Yeah. Everything evolves and changes,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I think that for Gen X, we birthed sneaker culture,
Mm,
and
yeah,
so for us, so much of it is just tied to a moment in time. And think about this too. When those shoes were coming out then, we were young and didn't have the money.
yeah.
Now we have the money to buy it,
Mm,
and so a lot of people are saying, I want to buy the shoes that I couldn't afford to buy, my parents couldn't afford to buy me.
yeah.
Now I can buy them. Now I'm going to buy them. That's why I think that it continues to be a demand for those shoes, especially the retros.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Definitely. All right, just got a couple more and then I'll let you go. I know you said it's been busy, but I enjoy having you on and kind of just
Yeah,
talking about
absolutely.
fashion and things like that. Couple more on this, talking about the alternate brands. We talked about Jordan, Nike. We know those are the powerhouse brands, but it seems like there's more of a shift now into different brands.
Mhm.
Adidas and New Balance. They're all staple brands. But then you have Hookah. You have those. For the ones that want to do fitness and things like that. Do you see
Mhm.
more of a
Mhm.
shift into those types of brands when it comes to that, or is it still the hype with it? The hype of Jordans or is it? Well, I guess both things can be true when it comes to that. But do you see more of a shift into the lifestyle brands, or fitness, or is it still the hype beast of what sneaker culture it was all about?
Yeah, I think there's been a transformation in um, fashion in general, or
Mm, that's a good point.
in professional work attire. It used to
Yeah,
be where you couldn't wear sneakers to work,
yeah,
but
true.
a lot of places you go, you see that people will wear sneakers to work. They're wearing sneakers in the boardroom. So,
Yeah,
there are shoes that work for that type of environment. I think people are always looking for what they can wear that looks good and feels comfortable as well. And I think also people just, your values, your priorities change, especially as you get older too.
yes, that's
And
true.
but even younger people, they value feeling good in what they're wearing. So the market for shoes that have comfort technology has certainly increased. I was in this was like the end of 2024. I was finally getting the black cements, and I was at DTLR, and I
Mm,
was talking to the sales lady, and she was telling me that the younger generations love the Asics shoes. That's what they come in there and
Yeah.
buy. And she herself was wearing New Balance, the 9060s. They are
Hmm.
extremely comfortable. I have a pair
Yeah.
myself, and I couldn't believe it. The way they're constructed is designed for you to be able to wear them all day. And that's what people are looking for, is something that, if it's not something for an outfit, they're looking, they want a lifestyle shoe. They want something that they can be
Comfort.
comfortable in
Yep.
all day and their feet aren't hurting. Because why else would you wear a sneaker, right?
Yeah, yeah, right, right. Yes.
So one of the comments that I got on my post yesterday was that they wish that the retros would um, evolve with the comfort technology,
Mm,
so that they
yeah.
would offer more of a comfortable feel in those shoes, because they're certainly nice looking, but it's not something you want to walk around in all day,
Right,
right? But
right.
she's just like, if I wish that if they could just merge those two things, it would
Mhm.
be perfect. But yeah, I think there's definitely more of a demand for that type of shoe, like you said, with the Hokas as well. Doctors recommend that shoe all the time. The people who
Yeah.
have problems with their feet, that's what they tell them to get.
Yeah, Hokas, yeah, and you got A6, and you
Mhm.
talked about New Balance. And it's just gaining popularity as everyday lifestyle with
Mhm.
it. And when it comes to that, because of comfort. And I think, as you said, as you get older, you said the priorities change when it comes to that. You're looking for more comfort than just the, yes, we always still have the aesthetic of a Jordan and things like that. But I agree with the comment that someone said on your post about that, making making those retros more comfortable, because as we know, growing up, basketball sneakers can be heavy, they can be bulky, and everything. They look nice, but you get them now when they retro, you get to go back into the 90s to get those 90s type style sneakers. They're very bulky and heavy, like the LeBrons. Oh my goodness, and I know they're for him for the most part. He's a
Right, yeah.
6'8", 270
Right.
pound guy, athlete, but that, you buy them, it's like, oh my goodness, these things are heavy. I can't wear these for that long, and everything
Yeah.
too. But it goes to show, as you said, that now performance is a lifestyle now. It is as a lifestyle. So running shoes and those brands, you can wear them for running and wear for comfort too. So I think it's really good
Yeah.
that these brands are gaining that popularity, even with,
Mhm.
and Nike is they're shifting a little bit too towards that, because they got
Oh,
to
they
keep up with
gotta keep
everything else.
up,
Hmm.
because
Yeah,
there is definitely a market for it, and they do have certain shoes that compete with those
yes,
types of shoes, and I've had a few, because when I travel, I gotta be comfortable.
yeah,
I
absolutely,
gotta be comfortable. So, and I think a lot of people feel that way. So I love it. I love it. I love having those types of options, and it just feels so different to walk around in something
yeah.
that feels good.
Yeah, like I put,
Mhm.
when I'm, like I said, when I'm traveling too. Sometimes even when I travel, I used to take a bunch of sneakers, and when I travel, like I'm taking 5 pair. Nowadays, I don't even do that anymore. I travel, I'll have my pair. I got Air Maxes that I travel with
Yeah.
on the plane,
Mhm.
and sometimes if I that's all I got, I'm just gonna wear them throughout those 3 4 days,
Mhm.
depending.
Mhm.
What you said, sometimes I'll take an extra pair for those or, I guess you want to
Yeah,
be
for the
fashionable,
yeah,
special occasions and things like that. You want to be fashionable and all that.
right.
But I'll just take 1 pair, or I'll take 2 pair, and that's it, and I'm good
Yeah.
with it, because you said you and travel, you want to be comfortable, and that's what it's about. So
Yeah.
um
Well, those neutral colorways are
oh,
important too. Everybody's
it
like,
is.
"Oh, look at this cool colorway." Yeah, but you also need those neutral
You
colorways.
need no neutrals. You do need the neutral colors. The blacks, the whites, the grays. You need those colors,
Mhm.
those basic
Yes.
neutral colors. I'm with you on that.
Mhm.
So, all right,
Yeah.
last two. The storytelling. We talked a little bit
Mhm.
about that, but how much is that still important when it comes to the sneakers and telling a story of how you present yourself, how you look, or just in general storytelling when people are making those collaboration when it comes to sneakers.
I think that Storytelling is really important when it comes to sneakers. I think without a compelling story or cultural context, it doesn't hold long term resale value.
Mm, mm,
I think that you know supply is more controlled. Consumers are smarter, so storytelling is now much more important than scarcity. Than, oh, this is exclusive, or this that. What's the story behind the shoe? I think that that's much more important.
yeah, the story behind the shoe for sure. And I think a lot
Hmm.
of times too, even people that are buying sneakers, they do look at that story, and it tells a story for me, for them to say, okay, what type of outfit I'm going to wear when it comes to this sneaker too. And now you're telling a story with your whole entire outfit and the sneakers. It's like, hey, I like these sneakers because of this nostalgia, as you spoke about earlier. So I think that's very important as well. So all right, the
Hmm.
last one is what is next for Snare the Sneaker Auntie for the year? What you can announce, what you got coming up, and then a couple, maybe some tips on you talked about before, finding those deals and where to find those deals. So let everyone
Hmm.
know where you, and little taste of where you find a couple of deals and what's next for you.
Yeah, so I think what you're going to see from me, especially in terms of content, is just diving into more conversation on sneaker culture and what's happening in the world of sneakers. You'll also see me talk more about incorporating sneakers into your wardrobe, and recommending different type of sneakers, because I am getting more women asking me about what works with what occasion, and also about sneakers that feel good. That's what's important to
Hmm.
them, is how they feel, because they're going to be wearing these, like, transitioning from work to after five, or what should I travel in. So that's what I'm starting to get asked about. So that's what you'll see more of me talking about in terms of my content. Hopefully, in terms of what I'm doing, you'll see me doing more of things like this,
Hmm.
on podcasts and speaking engagements, and that sort of thing. In terms of sale, and I know this is relative, because I know I get some people who, especially guys that have bigger feet, they're like, Sarah, I don't care what you say, I'm not gonna find any good deals in my size. I mean, I don't give up hope. There's a
Right.
lot of I shop 95% of the time online.
Hmm.
Is where I find my shoes. I love to, and they're not all created equal in terms of shipping, in terms of shipping costs and things like that. So, you want to sign up and get your account, so you can get benefits for and earn points, so you get free shipping and things like that. But I like to shop at all of them are having great deals right now. I would just go online and just look at the sale area and shop, look for your
Yeah.
size. Shoe Palace, I love DTLR, I love Chic, even Sneaker Politics, which is more of kind of like a boutique type of shoe place. They have great deals. They've had some really great deals lately. So my advice is to be diligent.
Hmm.
You can't, you're not going to just have luck. Just, you got to put the time in. That's how you come across those gems. And I would also say, I did a video about this too, where you can sometimes get some real gems at discount stores.
Oh
They're
yes.
showing up in stores now
Hmm.
because, like you said, not everything is moving. So you will, if you're lucky, come across, a pair of Jordans at a Ross or something like that. But
Oh yes.
again, it's just
Hmm.
like your diligent online shopping. You can't just walk in one day and expect to just strike gold. It's something that you have to, all things kind of have to align. It's the timing, it's when the warehouse, when they get something from
Yep.
it's all those things. But it's also fun to do that. But I would encourage people to just put in a little time and search those sites because you could definitely save some money.
You definitely can. I agree 100%. You said the Rosses, the Marshalls, you find those,
Mhm.
you can find those
Burlington.
in Burlington, you
Yeah.
find those deals if you go,
Mhm.
you said the right time. And I agree 100% about signing up. If you're into it, sign up, get those discount coupons and those
Mhm.
deals. And because like I said, I'm part of the Nike membership club and all these things.
You
I'm
gotta do
signing.
it.
You got to do it if you're into it. You sign up for these different Foot Locker and those types of stores as well. And you're right, and all the other ones that
And
you
they'll let
listed.
you know too. Once you sign
Yeah,
up,
hmm
they'll tell
they'll
you.
send you. Yep,
Because Nike they'll have some good deals sometimes on the
they
Nike
will.
side where they'll say, I'm
Mhm.
doing it, we're doing an extra 25% off this week.
Yep.
Adidas does it a lot. If you sign up for their club, I ordered a pair of shoes on there and they actually partner with Amazon now.
hmm
So I had gotten my shoes, it was either the next day or the day after, and the fit wasn't right, it was a little too big. So
Right.
I was able to take them back to Kohl's and send them back right away and get another one shipped because Amazon has that good deal with Kohl's. So it's, you want to sign up for those things so that you're aware because they're going to let you know and give you
They
a heads
will.
up.
They will let you know for sure. You're right.
Mhm.
You just gotta. Good advice. I mean, you just got to look. Just go online. You said we spend 90% online anyway, so 90%.
Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We don't hardly. It's hard to get out to the stores sometimes and just like, hey, oh,
Hmm.
I could just order this for this price and it's on sale,
Hmm.
30% off. On top of that, yeah, yes, it is
Yes, that's
for
me
sure.
all day.
Me too. It is. I'm looking at I've been trying to find the Griffey Max ones and Foot Locker's now got them on sale. So I'm like,
See, Foot Locker's another good one. They have great
yes.
deals too.
hmm
Yeah.
I'm like,
Mhm.
I've been wanting to get this colorway, the black and teal, the original Griffey. So
Mhm.
nostalgia, here we
Mhm.
go.
There you
Now they're
go.
on sale.
See?
Got my
There you
size.
go.
So
Case
might
in
just
point.
might just scoop them up. Yes, yes. So yeah, just looked on there. It's like, oh, there we go. They are on sale now. So, but
Mhm.
Sarah, it's always a pleasure catching up with you. So glad to have you back
Yeah.
on for the second time.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, you have a invite always, and we always just find the time to do it. So you have
Yeah.
an invite to the podcast, and I laid out the red carpet, and you're fashionable, and in your sneakers, and you just walk the red carpet right into the Real Deal podcast. So
Thank
you
you. I
are you
appreciate it.
yeah, you have an open invitation for sure. But I appreciate the insight, appreciate your time. Thank you again. Best of luck, many blessings on the everything you got going on, and looking forward to all the things you got coming up. And but let everyone know where they can follow you on social media. Want to reach out, get advice, all those things,
Yes.
like, subscribe, and all the things you got coming up.
Absolutely. So I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, and my handle is the Sneaker Auntie. So you can find me at the Sneaker Auntie on all those platforms.
Yes, like I said, like, subscribe, share,
Please,
comment, all those
for
things,
sure.
and everything too. So yeah, thank you again for your time, and we'll do this again very soon, and I'm sure we'll have more to discuss when
I'm sure there'll
the
be
way
more to talk
yeah,
about.
there's gonna be more to talk about. Sneaker culture is always evolving, so fashion always evolving.
Yes.
So looking forward to it. So again, thanks a lot, and I'll share a couple of the clips on social media with you, and yeah,
Awesome.
great conversation. Thanks again.
Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate it.
All right. You have a good
All
one.
right. Bye.